How's it going, guys? So this video is to address my post that I did 4 days ago, which was for readers up and coming who are new or a couple years into this. What is the one thing which can cause you to hold back from doing readings? And that's one of the things I try to do, is try to encourage you guys. That's one thing, it is a group. I want to, and I know what it's like. See, you guys are lucky. I didn't have something like this when I started reading. I got my start in like things like chat rooms. They would have psychic chats that you could go into, and then you could do readings for people. So zippity doo dah about them. They couldn't post a photo. They couldn't do this. They might have a fake name, like a little thing. Nothing. But that's a good way to start, though. And I would do reads for people that way. That was my very beginning to reading and stuff like that. But you guys got, we've got a whole platform here, and there's all kinds of people that you could read for to gain experience. I don't even like the word practicing. I like it as far as gaining experience. Let's address some of these answers. I thought I would do it kind of interactive, and I'm going to address some of the answers, and then I will respond to those. So number one, so Jan Chalice says getting something wrong. That's a lot of the fear. Absolutely, guys. I don't get everything right all the time. There's no way. That's not possible. We're fallible. We're not God, so we can't get everything right all the time. But at the same time, what about the times you are right? Okay, what about the times you are right and you make that positive connection and things like that, and you get that good message of spirit out? So the more you read, you will have those. But I when you get those amazing connections with people and you really help them, then it's worth it to keep going. Okay, everybody's going to be wrong sometimes. If something happens where you read for someone, say you read here and the person is like, that really doesn't resonate. Say they're real polite. And the majority of my people are really polite about it, guys. They're not going to beat you up. And if somebody was extremely rude, I would take care of it, okay? But if somebody's like, I'm sorry, that does not resonate, just excuse yourself. You know what? I must have been off today. Maybe another reader will be able to help you. But thanks for letting me try. Just say something like that and everything. But I know with bigger situations, like what if they make a decision based on something I'm wrong about and things like that, I understand that there can be fear, and that's where working in the group and kind of getting a feel for what readings are about, you'll learn about your connection to the spirit, source, higher self, guides, however you bring down your information, you'll get familiar with it over time, and you will get better at being right. But the only way to know is to jump in there, and give it a try. So just pick some people, read for them in the group and things. If you are a little nervous about being wrong, try to do, maybe not take on situations that are very challenging, that someone's about to make a big decision on, but maybe try relationship and some various things, maybe some of the easier readings, and if you do real good on those, then start maybe picking up some challenging ones. Like, for instance, I do legal. That's a big one. You want to be right on those. Maybe not do the hard ones like that. So Grainy says self-doubt and maybe not feeling confident at times. Confidence is a huge thing. That is a huge thing for reading. And it definitely, if you're reading for someone, say I'm on video chat, if I don't feel confident and it starts showing, that's going to make my person nervous, right? So we want to be confident in everything, but a lot of it is doubting yourself. I want you guys to know that everybody has gifts, everybody has ability. It's just a matter of opening up the package. And we also want to remember that ability is like exercising a muscle. So you've got to put it to work. The more you work with it, the more you push yourself, the stronger the ability will be. But it's just like a muscle. If you don't use it, it's just, it's not going to be effective. But if you keep working with it, like even if you're not ready to read for a whole lot of people, read for yourself. Get the tarot decks and start learning and practicing with divination. If you want to start easy, start with some oracle decks. Start trying to predict things that could happen. One of the things, sometimes even watching those things on ID channel and seeing if you can figure out who did it. Just various ways, kind of push yourself to test your intuition and everything like that. But yes, confidence is a big thing. But the more you start reading and when you start getting that feedback that is positive and people validate what you have to say, they're like spot on, and things, and yes, that really resonates. The more that you get that over and over again, that is going to build your confidence. So we got to face our fear. We got to face our fear and stuff. Sometimes you got to fake that confidence till you make it. We don't fake the ability till you make it, but you fake the confidence till you make it. Okay, so Jody says, when I feel disconnected or if my energy is off, maybe depressed or stagnant energy like mine has been for weeks now. Yeah, and if energy is low, guys, I get low energy sometimes because I do a lot. I will take off a few days and just not do any reads and just kind of after work watch TV. Obviously, when you have a job, that makes reading harder. So I have my bread and butter job is what I call it, and then I have my reading job. And so when it comes to energy, yeah, don't read when you're tired and low on energy, and don't force yourself to do it either. I say that and I do that, but I've been dealing with it for a while, so I know how to get source energy to be able to do my reads. And that's a key one. I'm glad I just thought of that. When it comes to reading, do not use core energy, which is like, say your core is at your solar. Okay, you want to connect to source energy. So kind of visualize the crown chakra, aiming to the higher self, which connects to the source. It's kind of like your higher self is the middleman. That's how I read anyway. You may have a trusted guide. That is totally fine too. Sylvia Brown had a guide. I believe it was Geraldine. And just kind of plug into source and kind of bring that energy down. Okay? Because if you do not, you're going to wipe out and stuff. And it might say, I'm not sure exactly. Just aim the crown chakra. Trust me, it'll happen. Okay? Aim it and just kind of visualize a light coming from the top of your head, connecting to your higher self and spirit. And then visualize bringing that energy down and just charging your body with energy. Okay, and that's what's going to help you. Because there are some days, I may have 4 reads, 7 reads, and I've done up to 24 reads. I've done even more than that. Like, say, with my videos, I know it sounds impossible, but it's really not. It does take me a couple days to get through them usually, but I may have a lot of... if I'm doing video reads, I may take on a lot. If I get hit and it's like, do I have enough energy to do this? Sometimes I got to turn people away, and I turn people away based on how much energy I'm going to have, because I don't want to take on too many people, and then when I get to the end of my list, I'm drained. Okay, because then I'm not going to be effective. I need energy to be able to do my job. So that's what I want you to do. But yes, if you feel low on energy, if that's not even working and you just can't seem to get charged, and going outside is a good way to get charged. I would not read. Just wait a few days till you feel a little better. Don't read when sick, things like that. So we've got another one. Clients getting upset that I'm not picking up on a situation they specifically wanted. Now, I know with newer readers, like general reads are hard. There are times I have a hard time with general reads too. I will do them because, if you're going to be a paid reader, you got to do general. For example, if you go to the psychic fair, you sit down with a reader and you just let them get what they get. That's the way the majority of people at the psychic fair read. So I'm open for general. But I do sometimes when I'm talking to people, when I'm talking to them on PM, and most of my clients know, I try to go in knowing as little as possible. Sometimes I do, if it's a court situation, sometimes I do need to know a little of the backstory because that's harder. I want to make sure I'm right. But when doing general, if you don't feel confident doing a general read, and that's okay because they are hard, it's like going into a dark room and you flick a light and you're kind of looking around. Ask for a theme. That way you're not getting too much information because we don't want to feed the reader but you are going to be able to go in the direction. And I do that sometimes. But if somebody says, I just want general, then I'm like, okay, that's where we're going to go. I'm going to let spirit take the floor. They're going to say whatever they want to say. But relationship, career, finances, whatever it may be, okay, that's the direction I'm going. Spiritual growth, gifts, okay, that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to pick this layout. That's what we're going to do. So if you come up with that situation, now clients being upset, I know we don't want anyone upset and everything like that. But if something happens where, say you've done the reading, and say as a paid reader, I say I've done the reading, and then they're like not happy or it didn't resonate, there are ways to remedy that. I could, I'm sorry, that did not connect. I'll give you a refund. Or maybe, I'm sorry, that did not connect. What I can do is next reading I can offer for free. So if you need me for another situation, hit me up, remind me that I offered that, and I will give you a free reading next time. There are ways, it's just like customer service. You want your people happy. You want them satisfied. Maybe you don't tell them what they wanted to hear, but, you relay the truth and things like that. And just if they're for some reason not happy with something the way it went, just make an offer for that. So maybe refund, or I could do another reading in the future if you would like. Just come to me when ready, and I'll do another reading. I don't want to read on the same situation. Obviously, we wouldn't want to do that because there's no point. So, just come to me in a couple months if you need another reading. I will do it for free. So there are ways to remedy that and stuff. If a client is real rude with you and nasty, then just refund them, Not being connected, being too anxious, going through much stress. That's not the time to read, of course. If we don't feel connected, being too anxious, it's just not the time. Misty, I don't want to be insensitive or hurt anyone's feelings. I struggle with the right words. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. That's why we let the higher self take the floor. We got to get little self out of the way. That's why Ellen gets little self out of the way. I get out of the way with my opinions and my ideas and things like that. I got to get myself out of the way. And really focus on, listen to that voice. What is your higher self's voice when they're whispering in your ear? And that's where they will give you the words. That's why we plug in. We're kind of channeling the higher self. And they do know what to say. Well, once in a while I got to yell at the higher self, but I'm not going to say that. I've had them get a little rude before. But I know we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That is true. But I want you to remember that people come to you for a reading because they want the truth. Sometimes the truth can hurt. You can still be sensitive and empathic about it. Okay? Like, for example, one of the big things, and I've talked about it, is if I'm going to relate to somebody that I feel that someone is cheating, there are a lot of times I hate to do that. I really hate to do that. But every time I relay it, pretty much, the person is glad I told them. Okay? There are ways to do that, gentle. I do feel, I'm getting the Seven of Swords here, and I'm getting, the Two of Wands. I feel there is some cheating. I feel you may be aware of it. I do feel they're definitely wondering if the grass is greener on the other side. I'm real sorry to hear that, but I know you could do better. But I do feel you are kind of aware of it, and you just wanted validation from me with that. I'm very sorry to relay this news. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I do feel it's important that, that is the situation. There are ways to do it in a sensitive tone, in a way, showing that you cared. Okay, obviously, just like when I relayed that. But the words will come to you. The words will come to you if you plug into higher self. Just visualize getting yourself out of the way. Just try to shut this off and visualize and tune in to what the higher self has a lot to say. Okay, but as far as hurting anybody's feelings, of course, sometimes when a reading comes in, it could be some information that could be upsetting. But if you use empathy, you can lessen the blow. Okay, that's what empathy is for. And we've got a lot of empaths in here. Empathy is also a skill too, and stuff. That's one thing, even just in jobs and everything, I've been trained in empathy, so I've got a little work experience, but then I've got the good old spirit experience with it. And the next one, Liliana, not wording things right that people get offended. Absolutely. That's what I want you guys to do. I'm very glad you guys brought these up, Connect to the higher self. The higher self knows what to say and how to say it. Okay. And I know it's like, well, what if it's how do I know it's me or I mean, how do I know it's them and not me? After you work with that connection over time, you will know. Okay. So, and then we've got Pamela. Sometimes I am overwhelmed, all the new adjustments in my life. Okay, so we've got a little bit. Let me get to. Let me read some of this to myself. Yeah, if you ever get overwhelmed with some of it, one of the things very often, especially new readers, say they come out as a reader, they start reading for people. Sometimes they get hit with a lot of people coming at them. All of a sudden, you've got people in your inbox. If you do a good reading in a group, everybody wants one from you. I've seen that happen to readers before where they do a really good reading. Can I get a reading too? You know, or they start tagging them and things like that. That's one of the things. If you get overwhelmed, just kind of step back. And it's okay to say no. There are times I have to say no. There are times I get message at midnight and I'm really tired and I just want to watch YouTube on my TV and people want a reading right then and there, you know, and it's okay to say no. I had a hard time saying no in the beginning. I'm much better about it now. Getting your reading incorrect and accurate, making poor decisions based on that. There's always a risk of that, yes. And that's why we want to be really impeccable with it. And we want to be very careful, of course. But if you've been working, tarot is really good at narrowing certain things because it gives you an idea of the most likely outcome. And it makes it a little bit easier to get to the intuition. Okay. And in working with it, you'll learn to trust it. We've got to trust that information. I've got to trust the connection that I have to spirit. I've worked with it for a long time. Normally I get it. Normally I get the message. Okay. But one of the things, you know, there is always a risk, you know, that you're wrong. That is a possibility. There is a risk you're wrong. But are you right the majority of the time? And so forth. Are you right the majority of the time? Are you finding your reads are resonating with people? And just like I said, in the meantime, if you're still feeling uncomfortable with that, because it is a lot of responsibility, and I understand that, try to do reads that are a little bit easier, that are more in your league, and kind of build up to the harder situations. Take your time with that. Lots of afraid to be wrong. Guys, don't be afraid to be wrong. It's, you know, that's a given. It's going to happen. There are times when, you know, just like gender, man, that's one of my getting gender. Okay, of these babies. I don't even want to do it half the time because it's like, it's hard, you know. And there are times I'm right quite often, but it's a 50-50 shot. So I don't do it a whole lot anyway. I just take on other things. But some people are really good with stuff. My daughter's really good about picking up people's signs. She has a knack for that. She's better than I am at it. Knowing if someone is a Leo, knowing if someone is a Scorpio and so forth. She's real good at that. And they called her the star child at her high school because she was able to pick up everyone's sign. That's how strong she had it. So we got to let go of fear. If you want to be a reader and you really want to pursue this and figure out if you have this ability, and just like I always tell people to know, am I crazy or am I psychic? That's why we get into it, right? We got to face fear. So we got a fear of failure. Yep, I know. Absolutely. Doubting what comes through because it seems silly. Okay, nothing is ever silly. The message is a spirit. Okay, and stuff. Nothing is ever silly. Not knowing if it's my own thought, just to address that, or spirit. Sometimes, so I fear the wrong message. Absolutely. Listen to how that voice sounds. Okay, listen to how that voice sounds. Like there is a certain tone that I hear in my higher self's voice. So I really listen to that as I do that. Now, one of the things, I don't know if you guys have watched me, I talk kind of fast. When I do my video reads, I do talk kind of fast. And that's because that's how fast the information is coming to me. When I start reading, it clicks very fast for me and stuff. And so the good thing about that, and I feel the reason why my higher self goes so fast is because I don't have time to think or overthink the message. And that's one of the reasons. So you may find your higher self is kind of fast, and it's to stop you from thinking. And I really feel that's the reason why my higher self goes fast and I just start talking and relaying very rapidly information, is because it shuts me off from being able to think or overthink. Once in a while I pause and I just kind of, I gotta tune in what, but then I get back going. Okay. Self-doubt, my mediumship development group fell apart, and now I haven't practiced in a few years. That's it. We try, sometimes we fail. We got to get back up on the horse. Okay? We got to get back up on the horse and everything. Now, as far as for Des, if they see this, if a group fell apart and things like that, there's a lot of things just kind of go back to the drawing board. It's real hard. There's a lot of reading groups. There's a lot of mediumship groups and things like that. I feel what makes this group successful, because it is in comparison to other groups that just don't seem to grow. I don't do the unapproved reader thing. That is, everybody copies everyone. I don't copy anyone. Nothing I do is a copy of anyone. That's one of the things. You got to be different. You've got to have a niche. You've got to have something. Another thing is, not to my own horn, but as an admin, you got to have a persona that people can relate to. They've got to be able to trust you and things like that. And you've got to demonstrate it. You've got to demonstrate that you are a trustworthy person and show them. And especially, so it takes a strong persona to run a group to make it successful, and having a good team. Now, as far as mediumship development, that's a big one. There's those normally, when I did Jamie Lee's class, she did a really good job. There's, you really want to test people as far as have them reading for strangers, which is really good. Like, nothing. Okay. Things like that. That's what I did to get the certification. She would pick people. I would talk to them on the phone. So I have no photos, no nothing to go on. And I'm going raw. Okay. So, and that's what a good mediumship development will challenge people, to do things like that, to go raw, because that's really how mediumship read should go. A lot of mediums, when you go there, you don't show them a photo. They don't know who you're going to read for at all. And it's coming out of the ether, that spirit. Okay. So you really got to challenge people, and people got to have fun with it too. You got to make it fun, not be too serious. You got to make it fun, but don't give up on it. Don't give up necessarily on having a group or anything, but also you want to be in alignment with spirit. Whatever your project is, you want to be in alignment with spirit. Eliza Rosa, I wish I had more time. Me too. I don't feel there's enough time in the day to do what all I want to do. All of the above. That's funny. The sitter not telling me if I did or didn't resonate. That, yeah. There's a reason for that in groups. And the reason is, if somebody puts a post up and wants a reading, they may not want to spill the beans on the first reading they receive. So they may just say thank you because they're waiting for other readings. So they may not want to give up all the information. So if they start saying this resonated, this did not, then the other reader has got a visual of what's going on, and then they can read from that point. That could actually jinx them, because actually less information is better than more. So that is sometimes the reason why people hold back. So I've just kind of learned to accept that with it. Just a thank you is fine. Sometimes I get that. I get a thank you. There are times when I've done paid readings, I may not get a response, and I'll just check in, everything okay? Did you have any questions? And if they're like, nope, I'm okay. But sometimes people come back to me after I've sent them a video, and it may be 2 weeks later, and then they write a big long thing. Sometimes people just got to think about what you said and stuff and kind of see how it resonates. Sometimes people are stunned, and everything. So try not to, I know we love feedback. I encourage feedback in the group, but I do not require it. I'm not going to be one of those groups that requires feedback, because it's, it becomes an ego feed after a while if I started requiring it. So, but yeah, the majority of people will tell you though. The majority of people will let you know if something resonates. But yes, there are some people that are too polite to tell you you were wrong. So and that can happen as well. Some people may just say thank you. If they have a thank you exclamation point heart, then you probably were on. But if they're just like thank you, no exclamation point, no happy face, nothing, you know, then it might not have hit. So that's one way you could kind of read people. I need a little more free time to study the cards in their meetings and stuff like that. Feeling confident and knowing, remembering. And yes, try not to overdo it as far as meaning to get too hung up on. They are important. That's why I teach it in tarot class. But it will come to you. Just kind of don't try to overthink it. It's in here. It's just we got to dig it out. Certain things will trigger memory what the card means. Self-doubt, I get a lot of that. The fear of going forward with a read, not knowing if it's resonating, as somehow cause harm because it isn't coming through clear. The fear of someone else's reaction if I don't say something the right way or upset them. Okay. So, like, say you're in the middle of a reading. Say I'm on a video chat and I'm just kind of saying certain things and somebody's not necessarily responding to what I say, and everything. I may stop at a certain point. Is any of this resonating? I just want to make sure. That is okay to do that. That is okay to do that. You're not getting a whole, yeah, no. And if they say, it's not really resonating, then maybe, okay, let me try to focus a little better at everything. And then maybe it starts coming in then and stuff. But try, that's one of the things. You guys are really good people in that you want to make sure your information is right on if they're going to make a choice on it. But we also want to let go of that fear. Spirit is working through you. I want to remind you, okay? Even if you're a beginner or, you're advanced. I hate the word advanced. You've been doing it a lot of years. Let's put it that way. Spirit is working through you, okay? And they're going to do everything in their power to get that message through you. So I want you to kind of remember that, okay? They're not going to try to lead someone wrong by giving you the wrong information. And as far as upsetting them, that's where we tune into the higher self's words. We really try to channel the higher self because they know how to speak and they know how to say things to people, to really do that. If you really show empathy, that you care about the person's situation, okay, they will not be upset with you. That's one of the key things is empathy. That's what the ability is for. If you empathize with their situation, they're not going to be upset with you. I'm still working on my spiritual path, but if I were to get to that point, I would be afraid. Let's see. Hold on. Mislead. I try to advise on things. Happy personality. Oh, this is okay. Afraid my BPD would affect the reading, like bipolar disorder. Like feel immensely. I try to advise what I feel. But happy personality disorder makes you question your own reality, let alone others. Okay, so I have bipolar disorder, just so you know. I'm in remission. I've been in remission for many years. Okay, and so I would say, though, when I first kind of woke up, however you want to put it, I wasn't diagnosed yet. So things would hit me. I feel I was a little too wide open, to be honest. I was a little too wide open. And then inevitably things started happening. I'd have manic episodes, but I didn't know that. Things like that. But the good thing is I got the right cocktail. And I only take a couple pills a day, which is really good. And I got in remission and I did a lot of mindfulness and meditation. So bipolar disorder or any kind of mental disorder does not have to stop you from being a reader. It didn't stop me. But I have to work a little harder as far as, getting the balance and the mindfulness meditation to be able to do it. I would say, yeah, definitely I did. But you know what? It paid off. It paid off. So I just try to retain my peace and meditate and do my thing. But Pills alone don't do it. You have to combine it by taking your mind, or taking care of your mind. Your mind, you got to feed it. You got to feed it the right things. If you're feeding it a lot of toxicity and negative thoughts and suicidal thoughts and just the various things that hit the bipolar mind, if it's being fed and strengthened and everything like that, that's going to hinder you. But if you start feeding it, the positive, we got to uproot those negative seeds and implant the positive and everything. It doesn't have to stop you though, okay? It does not have to stop you. It didn't stop me. And I think I'm pretty terrific at it. So, it doesn't, but yeah, I had to work really hard. But yeah, I would say I was actually more wide open. I had things come to me that were insane at times like that. But I'd rather be at just kind of a nice, calm place and stuff like that than be wide open like that again. That was a crazy time. Self-doubt, fear of judgment. I'm an empath, so I feel and hear things hard. No matter the number of people that see the talent, there's always the doubters and the judgment. Sure. Now, in a group like this, you won't have that too much. The group is really good, and the majority of people believe that this is a real thing. I'm sure we got a few skeptics in the background, but when you go beyond that safe border of a group where everybody accepts it's real, for example, when I went to YouTube, I'm kind of putting it out there. There might be people that don't believe me, and things like that. But sometimes if we expect people to open their eyes and everything, with readings, we want to put ourselves out there. And the worst thing that happens, somebody disagrees with you or they say something negative to you, that's when we can't be offended. I'll give an example. When I read the Amari Nicholson case, that happened about a month and a half ago, I read the missing person on my YouTube. I felt like this is a big case. I want to get some things out there. So I'm going to do the reading. But the reading started circulating on Facebook, because when you go to YouTube, and it got a lot of views, okay? But I remember I was reading in one of the groups, somebody posted my vid, and there was some people were on board, and there were some people that were like, nope, psychics, nope, she's fake, this, that, and everything. And so I was in the group, so, I posted, and one lady was kind of talking negative. So I just, I decided to comment. I handled myself very professionally. I did not argue with these people or criticize them. And I'm like, I understand, being skeptical of psychics. I do not blame you. I said, but one of the things is the people in this group, this, true crime group or whatever, you're all trying to use your intuition. The only difference with you and me is I use cards, and everything. And, and I'm trying to tap into something different. But I said, you're all doing the same thing I'm doing. I just do it a little bit differently. And I've been doing it a little bit longer and everything. And just said, you could go look at my page. You could check me out. You could check my recommendations. That has a lot of my feedback to know a little bit about who I am and what I do. Later, of course, after things became revealed, I got a lot of good feedback on those vids, because they were like, she was right. Okay. So, sometimes we've got to put ourselves out there, but I didn't freak at the criticism because it comes with the territory. Okay. It comes with the territory that there are going to be people who do not believe in psychics and they may judge you for it. But just if you handle yourself in a positive way, with responding to people, and set the example, you may change some minds. Because I definitely feel I did change some minds for some people that may have been a little bit skeptical. And there'll be still a few people who are like, oh, well, they may still try to write me off, but that's okay. But sometimes we got to challenge ourselves. If we want to show people that this is a real thing, we've got to put ourselves out there. I'm not sure what imposter syndrome is. I've seen that twice. Let me look that up, guys. Call me naive. What is imposter syndrome?
According to Harvard Business Review, imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud.
Okay. So, imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. It disproportionately affects high-achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. Okay, so I think I understand a little bit what this is. It's like maybe you're doing it and you're projecting it, but you feel like you're just kind of faking it and stuff. And it occurs among high achievers. That's very interesting. As far as that goes, let me see. That has a little bit, when I kind of look at that, it's got a little bit of a self-sabotage kind of thing. I kind of look at that, how could someone like me, have an ability like that, and everything? What does that feel like? What does it feel like to have a gift, ability, intuition, being able to medium channel this and that and everything? And there's a little sabotage in that. Okay, there's a little sabotage. Now, doubting ourselves is, exactly. It's kind of, we think of it as a big thing to have, but you know what? It's something that everyone has, and I want you guys to remember that everybody has the ability. The true fraud people. There are people with abilities who are frauds because they use that ability to deceive. Inevitably, spirit's going to cut them off. But if you really have a true intent to help people, you're not a fraud. I want you to kind of remember that. If you have a true intent to help people in a positive way, by using what you've got, you're not a fraud. Okay? You're not trying to deceive them. You're not trying to rip them off of money. You're not, whatever, trying to manipulate them or things. If you really want to help people and you're trying to tap into what you've got to be able to help that person, you're not a fraud. So I want to let that go now. Pressure of people's expectations. If somebody presses too hard, you don't have to have them as a client. That's kind of one of the things. Like if you have a client that's overbearing, you don't have to have them as a client. I'm very fortunate, lucky, blessed, because when I see horror stories of clients, sometimes I go in tarot, and I see various stories about, like having just horror stories. I really don't have them. I have really good experiences with people and everything like that. Everybody's really good. I don't really have a lot of quirky people. There's only a handful of people I would never read for again. I feel I have good reason. Not that they were rude or bad or anything, but I have my reasons. It's not necessarily that. But, I know that's one of the things. But if somebody is pushy, I usually know who to say no to. Like I have had some occasions, people have come to my business page and they've been a little pushy with me about doing a reading. And, I'm like, no. And then I'm just like, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm full. So I'm not going to be able to take this on. I'm not sure when I'm going to be free. Things like that. I've done that before. Courage. Courage, yes, that's a big one. And that was from Katie, and that's one of my students. Every time I want to go live in this group, I get nervous and everything like that. Going live is a good way to face the fear because you get on camera and you get in front of everybody and you can't hide. Okay, they see your reactions and everything, but it's a good way to connect with people too. So if people can go live, that works even better. And let me look at this one. This is Elizabeth, one of my favorite people. Time or feeling like I need to compromise on my value pricing or how I deliver my readings from a business perspective. So this is a little bit more paid reader. From a personal perspective, it is usually when I feel like the question asked is something the seeker is looking for a particular answer that I know won't come through for them, which is why I have learned how to stay firm in explaining the kind of reader I am and what I deliver. That's a good point on that. Let me talk about that. This is going to be a good educational video. Okay, so there are times people want you to say, and this is what I was just talking about, a handful of people I won't read for. I'll tell a story. I had a situation where somebody wanted to read if their boyfriend would come back. And I usually try to stay away from them, but for whatever reason I took it, because a lot of times the person should just let them go, right? But I took the reading on and the answer was no. Okay, they're not coming back. So they kept coming at me from different angles. Well, is it possible if he'll come back if this? Is it possible he'll come back if that? If I write him this letter, will he do this? What about if I do that? Trying to change my read, which was when I give my answer, it's firm. Okay, and let me adjust. Oh, so anyway, and the reason why I won't read from them, they kept coming at me in the messenger, trying to get me to change my read. And I kept firmly going, no. Okay, and I kind of understood why he left, not trying to be a bitch about it, but I kind of see why he left. Okay, so, so there are times it's going to happen that people are really hoping you answer a certain way. Relationships is one of the big ones. Some people are understanding jobs. Did I get the job? I just did some of those tonight. Things like that. People don't push too hard, but relationships can be a big one. Okay, but we do have to relay the information as is. That's what we got to do. But if you feel, a lot of connection happens when you're first setting up the arrangement to do the reading for my paid readers, and getting to feel, really kind of read that energy. Now, I don't talk to people very long. I usually keep my messages real short, but I can still kind of tell a little bit about the person, even just from a little brief interaction with their energy. That's all I really need. Except if anything feels off kilter, like I said, I'm busy. Now, sometimes I really am. Sometimes I can't take on more people. That does happen. But if I feel anything like I could have a situation where somebody is going to be really disappointed with what I have to say, then I have told people, another thing I've done, I've told people, you're not ready for me. I have said that to a few people. They come at me, they ask for a read, this, that, you're not ready for me. And they kind of sit there and, but it's true. Some people are not ready for me. Okay, for me personally, I post on people that I'm drawn to, and I'm not drawn to everybody, but there are certain posts that I see that I get information, and I post what information comes to me, okay? But it's definitely not on every post, yeah. That's okay. Some people, we can't read everybody. Even when I'm looking at posts, what I look for to choose people is I look for, things that are really important. Not to put anybody down, but if something, everybody's reading, of course, is important to them. But I do look for a level of seriousness to the reads. Some of them I do take on are real serious ones. That's a lot of times what I put my focus on. And everything like that, that they, spirits like pulling me in, this needs to be done, that kind of energy. And also what I feel I can connect with, that's kind of how I choose people. So, I mean, if you feel like you can't connect with someone, a certain photo or something, just move on. There's plenty of people to choose from. Kind of read word drawn, what really pulls you that says, that person right there, that's the one I'm meant to read for. These are some good questions, guys. It's going to be a long video. If my ego is doing the talking and I start to feel the need to say something just to say it, and that's when I know that I am not at all in touch with the spirit. Yes, we shut the ego off. Absolutely. And I scroll away. Absolutely. I only read as I scroll and get a massive stop, read moment. And that's exactly what I just talked about. Absolutely. So you're kind of going through and then zoom, then something feels like I got to do that reading. And stuff like that. Absolutely, that's the way to pick people in the group to start getting and working with it. Okay, let's see. Good answers, guys. When I'm knee deep in shadow work, I find it difficult to separate and read for others. I notice a lot of shadow stuff popping up in the group, and I know people get frustrated. I'll have people, like sometimes people will tag me. I feel like everybody's just giving opinions. I feel like everybody's projecting. That's part of having a reading group. It's going to happen. People are kind of dealing with their own muck and this and that. And it can kind of come out of them when they're attempting a read. Absolutely. So we do want, if we're having a kind of a low point, And we've got a lot of stress going on and things like that. We're in our head a lot. Probably not a good time to read. Fearing an experience, yet I am becoming more and more drawn to it. That's from Joy. So the only way to get experience is to do. That's the only way. The only way to get experience is to do readings. And the more you work with it, you will overcome fear. But I know the first few readings and getting in there are scary and stuff like that, when you first start doing it. But, the more experience you get, you're going to feel more comfortable with that connection to the higher self to be able to get the information. Energy drainage, I know, guys. That's why you don't use core energy. Like, I know people will come to me, I did a reading, I did this medium reading, this and that. If they've only done one reading, and oh my God, I'm so tired, I fell asleep for 2 hours, I'm so drained, I feel sick, this, that, use core energy. Okay? So don't use core energy. Core, you want source energy to charge you up so you could go, longer and not wipe out. Wondering how the querent will respond to what comes out. I'm going to tell you something, and I'll be straight honest with you. When I start getting on my roll, okay, and I'm doing my tarot reader, medium, whatever it may be, but I do tarot more than anything. As this information is coming down, and I'm just kind of throwing it all out there as it comes, I never know how someone's going to respond. That is one thing I do not know. As a reader, I do not know how they're going to respond. I just throw it out there, and it's crazy stuff sometimes I get, right? And I just, if I record, like I'm making a video, I'm just like I'm talking to him, and I'm doing all my thing, and it comes in really, really fast, and I never know how they're going to respond, react, to my read. That is one thing I do not know, and that is okay. We're not meant to know. So they will, but when they let you know when everything is like, yes, this was on, yes. Just like one of my videos I did last night, somebody responded in the morning that I hit on they were like, you hit everything, except, so, in situations like that, sometimes we don't know. So that is actually a normal, natural thing. Just as the information comes, we're just kind of in a zone, and we're just kind of blurting everything out, and we'll find out when they let us know. But yes, I don't know. Let's see. I love my other job, but it's really hard to do both. Yes, it is. And there are days that if I'm a little tired from the job, I can't read. That is the hard part. That is the hard part. And we've got a lot of fear of being wrong, guys. We got to let that go. The more you gain experience and you just get in there and read and continue, you will get the experience that you need and stuff, and you will be more comfortable with those connections and everything. But I understand. A lot of people don't want to be embarrassed. Like say you're on a big Facebook group with 27,000 people, and you do a read, and say you worked really hard on it, and somebody says, oh, no, nothing right. And then it's like, oh, God, everybody saw it. They're going to think I'm a fake and a fraud. They're going to think I'm a joke. I know, we got to let that go, though, guys. We got to let that go, okay? Because what if you work really hard? And, I'll tell you, if you work real hard and just really focus, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Remember what I said earlier in the video. Spirit wants to use you to relay a message. Why not you, okay? Now, I do have Alex, if they're rude to me. It took me forever to have boundaries for myself with my clients. For example, I was on TikTok Live just to say hi. I stated I wasn't doing any readings at the time due to my depression, and that I was taking the day for healing and self-love. So she probably just wanted to go live on TikTok and just kind of talk to her followers. This woman got pissed, to say the very least. Okay, so I know, and I catch them on lives sometime. I've had a couple try to get rude with me on a live before, Alex. A couple people, get a little snarky. I've been on this live for a while, and you're not picking me. I've had people after a live come to my business page. I feel like you intentionally tried to skip me. And I'm like, really? Yeah, it's all about you, isn't it? My life is all about you. You know, some people, oh man, and I just lost my thing. Okay, I have to go back. So, with that said, you know, what I do, is I want to be a professional, but at the same time, I do have some pretty hardcore boundaries. So if somebody is, it gets rude with me on a live, I mean, I've called them out. I've called them out and stuff. I normally will try to be a professional, but if somebody gets rude to me in a situation like being on a live, you know, I will let them know who is the boss, okay, and I will let them know that I can remove them. And that's why I always put on my live, please be polite, because you have much better chance of getting a reading from me if you are polite versus if you're rude. Big time. Big time. But don't be afraid to set boundaries. I feel if you stood your ground and just blocked them and everything, that's fine. But I've caught people on lives, being a little pushy to live readers. Some people get a little entitled. Some people get a little entitled and stuff, and it's all about me and stuff, and they can go. I don't blame you for standing up for yourself. But yeah, that has really annoyed me before when people went to my business page. I feel like you skipped me on purpose, and I'm like, well, maybe you just weren't meant to be read for, and I usually do, I let people know I have a lot of people coming to me for a reading. I'm going to pick who I want. I'm going to read who I'm drawn to. And it must not have been your turn. So, but just, that's the hard part. Absolutely. They won't become a client of mine. I will tell you that right now. Okay, so hold on. Let me go back to the post because I lost it. Darn it, guys. But yeah, that does happen. Some people get a little entitled and things like that on the lives. And it's really weird because they don't behave like that in the group on other things. But on the lives, people kind of show their true colors. Okay, hold on. Let me find it, guys. I can't believe I lost it. I don't know what I did. Okay. Real good answers, guys. I love this post. And that's why I did it, because I wanted to answer you guys, but I wanted to answer you guys in a good way. Hold on. I'll find it one of these days. What did I do? Almost there. One. Here we go. Okay. And we're getting to the end. This is going to be a long video. Okay. All right. Yep, so we got Alex. Low confidence. The way to get confident is to get in there, do the readings, face the fear. When you start getting that good feedback and things resonate, and I'm going to tell you it feels good. Okay, when everything resonates and people are really happy and appreciative, that's what makes it worth it. That's what I do it for. Not for praise, but when I see how it helps somebody in a positive way, absolutely. That's why I do it. Having a bad memory and not remembering the card meanings is a big one for me, and no matter what I do, I can't seem to remember them. That takes time. It can take time. Everybody's memory level is kind of different. Some people are really good at that. I do teach a class, okay? I have ways to help you, like get your notes out and everything. But just the more you read it, you'll just kind of know those meanings. But it takes time. But a good way to do it, what I recommend you guys for tarot reading, get a journal. They have tarot journals. You can order one on Amazon. There's a few of them. And order a tarot journal and pull some of them have 1 to 3 cards a day. And then you get the card. And then if you're still learning, get your book. Read the meaning if you're not sure what it means. Okay. Read the meaning and then just kind of think about how that pertains. Write down the meanings. And then at the end of the day, reflect and see how those tarot cards played out throughout the day. Oh, that's why I got the High Priestess. Oh, I get it why I got the Hangman, and then kind of write out your experience, how you saw your day play out and how the Hangman manifested, okay? So for that, tarot journaling is really good for that. That's why even readers that have been doing this forever do a tarot journal. We enjoy it for one, but we're always learning. There's always something new to learn. So that is, I know it can be hard to remember. It takes time. It takes time. Not being able to communicate what comes through. I explain things through comparisons, and it can confuse people easily. That's why we want to channel the higher self and get the message from them. And I know it seems like that, it feels impossible when I say something like that. It's not. It's not. Once it just channel that message down. The fear of me being wrong, even though all I do is pull a card for someone and tell them what I see. I have had people who don't believe my premonitions. Still stuff happens and they still write me off. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's, there are going to be some people who don't believe you. That is going to happen. And sometimes they're like, oh, I guess what you said happened. That does happen. That's happened. That will wake them up, and maybe they were meant to have that experience. But yes, we got to release, just keep practicing, and you will find you're going to become more right more of the time. Yeah, a lot of you guys are learning tarot. Do my class. I go one-on-one on video with you. Fear of not connecting, fear of not understanding what I see, fear of seeing something scary. Oh, very good one. Somebody finally got to that. So, yeah, seeing like darker type of things, I know that can be a hard one. I have a thing with spirit. We have an agreement that I only want to go so far with that. I know it seems like I would be blocking myself to a degree, but I don't want to see anything that could scar me. For example, molestations, I don't want to see it. If something is meant to come up, don't let me see it, like here, clairvoyantly or anything like that. I try not to see things like that. Now, obviously, if I'm doing a missing person, I got to be a little more open to some stuff. But I also, at the same time, I don't want to see the grisly side of things. Just give me the message without scarring me. So, you can do that, because you still can be an effective reader without seeing the horrific type of stuff, because we got to sleep at night. And so that's one of the things that I feel helps me to be, because I think if I was hit with the real gruesome and dark stuff, that would shut me off. That would just make me shut down. I feel like spirit knows that I can still get a message without having to go there. So you can shut that off. If you don't want to see that, let the spirit know. Painful times in my life that make my thoughts not be able to see past my own pain. That comes with being an empath. And especially if you feel, I've been in this situation and I see that situation in another person, that is a challenge. Absolutely. And that's why we got to practice detachment, so we don't get swept away in our own past and even in the emotions of another person. We want to read energy and be able to connect, but we don't want to get caught up in all of the current of the emotion, I should probably say, and get swept away. A lot of insecurity ones, so we got a lot. And then Renee Mills, the energy, spirit telling me not to do it, a massive headache that starts before the reading. Okay, so yeah, if spirit says don't do a reading, don't. Absolutely. I mean, and I have that happen, guys. There are times I start doing a reading and stuff like that, and I start kind of getting messages in the tarot that say don't relay. The moon is a real good card for me with that. Sometimes if the moon comes in a certain prominent position, that means silence for me, because just because somebody wants a reading doesn't mean they should have one. Okay. So, if you ever get the red light, I call it the red light, green light. If I get a red light, that means don't do the reading. If I get the green light, go ahead. Okay. So if you kind of look at that, are you, and you could take that too. You could have spirit show you that too. If you got a red light, no. If you got a green light, yes. So it looks like we got through the list. I hope you guys found that helpful. I hope you guys find this helpful. But yeah, confidence is a big one. But we got to face that fear. We got to face that fear. Everybody has an ability, guys. Everybody on this list has an ability and things like that. And, the ones who are really going to do very well are the ones that face their fear, throw themselves in the fray, and everything else. But we've all doubted ourselves and everything. We've all kind of doubted ourselves, am I crazy or am I psychic? That's what I did in the beginning. I got to know, am I crazy or am I psychic? That's what it came down to. That was the bottom line. So, but the more you do it and the more you read and so forth, that is going to help you on the path immensely to get out there. Because we all have an intuition. We all got a third eye. Okay, right? We know that. We all got a third eye. So why not you? I hope you enjoyed this video.